Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Listen, I don't always like to wear my glasses, but I have to because my eyes are so dry out here in Arizona. So I'm hoping that when we move, I can start wearing my contacts again and I don't have to wear my glasses all the time because I feel like I look like an old lady when I put my glasses on, especially when I put my hair up. And oh, speaking of my hair, I think I'm going to get a wavy, loose perm for my hair because it's lifeless. I tried everything. I tried to put that curl scrunchy stuff in there, and everything's fine up until about right here. My hair from here to down there is just straight hay dead. So, looks like hay. It reminds me of hay. So I'm going to see if a perm will work, or maybe I might just have to get my hair trimmed and get all the dead off. I don't know, but I'm going to be seeing my hair lady when I go back home. So hopefully she can help me. But I'm making this video because I wanted to share something with you about autism, something that I experience. So this morning, my husband, mind you, he said, "Honey, you're worrying me a little bit. You're acting a little strange." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, you're asking all these different questions, and it was only like 5:45 a.m. And we were texting back and forth because I'm dog sitting right now. He's home. And I was like, "Well, how am I acting strange? I'm just asking, certain questions about things." And he's not understanding the fact of the way my brain works. So I have all these things that are constantly running in my head. All these tabs are constantly open and running in my head. I can't shut them off. I can't exit out. I can't minimize. I can't do anything. They're always running. And it's so loud inside my head sometimes that I'm just like, ah. So I'll get these thoughts in my head, and it's just, they're coming from all these different directions. And so I had all these things that I wanted to say before I talked to him, so that when he finally did respond to my text when he woke up, I had all these things to unload, like all these thoughts to unload. And yeah, some of the thoughts had no relation to the other thoughts. Like, I wasn't talking about the same things. I was talking about all sorts of different things, but these were things that I wanted to share because these were things that were on my mind. And he thought I was acting strange because I was asking a bunch of different unrelated questions, just like one after another. And I was talking about unrelated things too. It's because, and I told him this, I said, it's because I had all these things on my mind and I was waiting to tell you. So I guess with neurotypical people, what they do is they'll ask a question, they'll talk about it, and then, like, how do they get their other questions out? Do they just, because see, I just changed the subject like that. I don't ease into a different topic or anything. I say it because it's on my head or on my mind, and I say it and I get it out, whether it's related to other thoughts or not. So sometimes it's like all this stuff just comes spilling out of my mouth. If I have all this stuff going on up here, it has to come out. That's why I talk to myself a lot, because if I don't, I feel like it's all stuck inside my body. I have to release the words. I have to release the thoughts. And that's what I do, even when I'm alone. I'm following this guy on Instagram right now. His page is called Unmasking Maddie, or Unmasking with Maddie. And I get it. Like, I get it. Because when he's alone, he does a lot of vocal stems, and he shares it. And it's so soothing to listen to him vocally stim. And so he's been inspiring me to kind of get out of my shell and tell myself it's okay to release and regulate. You don't have to worry about what other people think. You don't have to worry about what other people might say. Who cares? We have to regulate. Are they regulated? The ones that are criticizing you, are they regulated? If they are, good for them. But they have to understand that You're not regulated, and you're doing everything you can to regulate yourself. If your regulating looks differently than a other person's regulating, who cares? Everyone's different. Stimming should not be something that people are ashamed to do. Kids do it without even caring. They just stim. My son, he just stimmed. Kids, they don't care about what the world says about, that's what I love about kids. They're so honest, and they're just so authentic, and so you can learn a lot from kids. My grandson, he's just a dream come true for me. He's just so sweet, and I learned a lot from him when I spend time with him, because he does a lot of stimming, and I look at him and I'm like, he's having his best, he's having his happiest life right now, because he's just regulating his body in ways that regulate his body and his mind. And I guess that's the message today, is with autism, it can look like a whole bunch of things at once. When you're talking to somebody with autism, it's like, if they've been waiting to say these things, it's all going to come out at once. For me anyway, it's all going to come out at once. Before you even have time to digest the first topic, I'm going to start going into the second and the third topic, because it's on my mind, and it's something I, wanted to share with that person. So anyway, yeah, stimming, the way I stim is I do a lot of I feel a lot of textures. I love my pillowcases. So at night when I'm trying to fall asleep, I'll just kind of take my hand and kind of mess with my pillowcase a little bit. I'll just kind of rub it between my fingers, and it soothes me. That's one way I stim. Another way I stim is I just kind of try to move my body, whether it's just little like this back and forth, because sometimes I'm so stiff with EDS, it hurts the way I want to stim and the way I want to move my body. Sometimes I can't always do that. Like right now, I woke up, I know my feet are dirty, sorry. I woke up and my ankle, I don't know, I must have slept in a weird way, but my ankle, if I put weight on it, it's like sharp pain. And if I don't put any weight on it, it still feels like an ache. So I don't know what I did with my ankle. And that started coming on yesterday, but when I woke up this morning and I stepped out of bed, whoa, it reminded me immediately that I did something to my ankle, and it really hurts. And guess what I have coming today in the mail? My first ever walking cane. I'm getting a cane. My doctor, I talked to her about it. She prescribed me a cane. And it's not just any cane. I had to get a cute cane. So I'll show that to you when it comes. It's not anything crazy looking. It's just a walking cane, and it'll help me get upstairs, get out of the car, do things that are really putting a lot of strain on my hip joint, my knee joint, and my ankle joint. And it seems like right now, my left leg is having a really big problem. From my hip down to my toes. I don't know what's going on. So that's the thing about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Every day is different. You can kind of predict based off of pattern, but it doesn't always happen that way. Like my ankle, this thing is a fluke thing. I didn't step on my ankle. I didn't injure my ankle. I didn't do anything. It just all of a sudden hurts. There's something going on inside. Everything's so fluctuating all the time with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in our bodies. That's why every day is different. And that's why it's hard for me to explain to doctors, and I know I'm not alone in this, it's hard for me to explain to doctors what it's like, because every day is different. Every day is unpredictable. I have to explain myself to people that are helping me. It's frustrating, because how do you really get someone to understand something that's going on inside of you? Get them to understand how it feels. Get them to understand what it does to your mental health, what it does to just your life in general, your quality of life. How do you explain that to somebody when all of it is invisible? All of it is inside. How do you get someone to actually sit there and believe you? Because the way this world is built, if you don't work, there's something wrong with you. You know, you seem to get a pass if you're obviously retired, if you're elderly, if you're young, like in school, like obviously you're not going to have a job when you're in elementary school. It just seems like the way this world is built is, if like people look at me and they probably say, why does she not have a job? Is she lazy? People don't see what's going on the inside. And the other thing too is a lot of time people are so quick to make a quick judgment about somebody when they realize, oh, they're not working. They look fine. So what's their story? Like, I have to go to work every day. Why do they not have to work? And they get to have a roof over their head. And, you know, it seems like people get really defensive when they find out that somebody's not working. There's a lot of opinions and judgments to be made about that from people. And I know that because I've seen it. And I'm guilty of doing it. You know, before I had all these issues that seemed to have popped up from out of a dormant state. Actually, it wasn't dormant. It just, my symptoms didn't start really, really showing as far as becoming a problem until I was grieving. But before that, before I realized that there was something going on with me, I would look at people and I'd be like, so they're just not going to work? Like, you know what I mean? It's built in our brains. Like, you work, you pay your bills. You work, you're not lazy. You work, you're responsible. But if you don't work, then there's all those questions. Why? What's wrong with you? Are you lazy? Like, what's your story, you know? It's hard. I'm 47 years old, and when people ask me, like, what do I do? I have to tell them what I did in the, you know, like what I did in the past tense. And then, you know, as far as when I have to explain what I'm doing currently, it's embarrassing. I just basically say, you know, I'm taking care of some health issues right now. That's all I say. And it's really no one's business. And I know I don't have to explain myself to anyone, but it happens. It comes up in conversation. You know, just like when people say, well, how many kids do you have? I have 3, but I don't tell people that because they'll want to know, like, all about them and stuff. They'll ask follow-up questions, and my 2 children, I don't see. They live with their father, and it's a parental alienation situation. And how do I explain that? So when people ask me, like, how many kids do I have, in my head, I say 3 beautiful babies, but verbally comes out, I have a son, he's 27. Because when they ask a follow-up question, I'm going to be able to answer. You know, it's... I have a lot on my mind this morning. And, like, I went to sleep last night with a lot on my mind. And then my husband went and said that this morning. Like, he's like, you're acting strange. Why are you asking all these random questions? And then that kind of made me feel weird because I was like, wait, am I acting strange? So then I started looking inward and I was like, is there something wrong with me? And then I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Now this is the part where you have to advocate for yourself. So these are just, you know, I'm just having morning conversation with my coffee with you. This isn't really like a video where I'm going to tell you something super exciting or anything. This is just me chatting away because I can't do this in person a lot of time with people because it makes me feel uncomfortable unless I really know the person. But I don't really have anyone to go to coffee with out here in Arizona, so you're coming to coffee with me and we're talking. And I wish I could hear your end of the conversation so then we could sit here and converse. And yes, my feet are dirty. I can't help it. It's just my little foot spa. I gotta get a new one. Something's wrong with it. So normally I soak my feet, and then I take my pumice stone, and I try to take care of myself as best as I can, but a lot of times things kind of get put on hold because of my energy levels and just my ability to get things done. But for the most part, I do try to take care of myself. It's just hard sometimes. But anyway, that's pretty much what was on my mind this morning. I thank you for listening. You know, the other thing I'm going to say too is it's really, I don't even know what the word is, but I'll make shorts and I'll put scripture and music to it. And I enjoy doing it because I love sharing scripture, and I try to pick out scriptures sometimes that might, really, like last night I picked out a scripture about how I laid down in safety and the Lord watched over me while I slept. And I love that scripture because it's true. He watches over us as we sleep at night, and we wake up and it's a new day, and it's just, who do you think watches over you when you're sleeping and vulnerable? It's God, obviously. And the Lord's breath is ours. So he's breathing for us when we're not thinking about anything because we're sleeping. The Lord is watching over us. I think that's such a wonderful scripture and a good reminder and something to just make you feel so thankful. But when I share certain scriptures, it really wakes up the demons. I'll get comments. I got a comment yesterday about that long. And some guy was trying to explain to me about how I don't know anything. And how the Bible is just, I need to be looking at like the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I need to be looking at all these other books and things that, and I get it. Like, there's tons of people. Listen, I'm just trying to share scripture out of the Bible. I'm not trying to sit here and say I know everything. I love God, and I'm trying to share scripture. That's all. I'm not trying to say like I know everything, or, so don't come after me and put in my comments things like, you might as well just call me an idiot. If you have something so profound to say, put it on your own channel. Don't go barking at somebody on their channel. Make your own channel. Then you can say whatever you want, whenever you want. It's your channel. You can even make a channel about how you oppose people who talk about the Lord because you have a better way of doing it. You could make a channel like that. You have free will. Go for it. That was just my little moment of, I know that when you are online, you're putting yourself out there for people that are going to pick on you. There are online bullies. It's obviously very well known that people know that there are a lot of keyboard warriors. But, it's like, dude, I'm telling you, the comment was that long. And it was all about how I know nothing. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Anyway, my coffee's getting cold because I keep talking. And I can't put this mug in the microwave because it's not microwave safe. So I better hurry up. And I'm at 19 minutes, so I went 5 minutes over. So if you've stayed with me this long, thank you. Because a lot of it was just rambling about a bunch of different things. But I appreciate you listening to me as I ramble on with my coffee this morning. And I just look forward to our next Bible study. I look forward to our next book read. And I look forward to moving and getting into our new home and our new space so I can create a space for these videos. That's all I can think about right now because I'm so excited for this change, for this new chapter. Y'all, I have struggled so badly for the last 4 years, like intensely struggled for the last 4 to 5 years, physically and mentally. And this change right now is like such a relief to me. coming change, and I'm so thankful. And I just said all my thank yous to God last night, and just I really needed this. I really need this change. I really need to get out of our travel trailer and live back in a regular house again, because my body just says we need accommodations, and that travel trailer has zero. So, with that being said, I'll let you go. I hope you have a great Sunday, and I hope that the Lord touches you in some way today and you feel His peace and His comfort. I hope if you're having an issue or you're struggling, you find that peace from the Lord today, and you find wisdom and understanding for your situation today. All good things for you all today. That's what I pray for. All good things, and all good things come from the Lord. So I pray for you all that you all have an abundance of blessings. So I'll see you on the next video. I love you.